is 8 o'clock on the East Coast. It is 5 o'clock on the West Coast. It is the 10th of January in the year of our Lord 2025. Season 15, episode 26, 695 times. You have been welcomed to the Clubhouse Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things sports, entertainment, pop culture, pro wrestling. It's what we do every Thursday night. Welcome. My name is Rob, and I once watched a man throw at his own kid in a father-son game. That way for me is my co-host and a man who hit a ball so hard once it took off to South America and needed a visa. He is Alex.
I'm not sure. It was too high.
You are coming through your laptop microphone currently, sir.
I literally just checked it. It's actually registering this microphone, so it might be duplicated. I'll work on that.
Okay. At the bottom of your screen is the official fact checker of Sooner or Gator Productions, and a man who once went to a game and was so excited because he might be sitting in the front row. You may know him as Ig Bunu, but his mama named him Don Ford. I'm going to call him Don Ford. Hey, man.
Front row.
You'll understand here in a moment.
Okay. I'm going to say, because games, I know we'll get in the NFL, but yeah.
You picked against your team. What are you talking about?
I know.
Your team.
I know. That was my head, not my heart.
I'm just saying.
My heart's
You're
broken.
your team if you didn't pick them.
You know what? I even put on LA's post about I want it to be the special teams coach when he becomes the new coach of the Cowboys on Facebook.
He'll be the coach of the Cowboys on Facebook, I'm sure.
Yeah, but he wants to be the coach of the Cowboys. And if I say if you get the role, I want to be your.
This is just further truth that Don can't tell certain people apart.
My humor is lost on you people.
Way to start off a show.
Let's dive right in. For those of you that didn't pick up what I was putting down, and I don't want to mention any names, but his initials are Don Ford. All three of our intros tonight were quotes from one Bob Uecker.
Okay.
Passed away today at the age of
Mr.
90.
Baseball.
As I was doing show prep, I was sitting on the couch and getting ready for the show, as I do. I just went to IMDb and looked at the first two Major League films and went straight to the quotes section just for the Harry Doyle stuff. And I have come to the conclusion, just a montage. I actually was going to look for a montage and just play it. I need a YouTube montage of all of his lines from Major League that could achieve world peace. I'm just saying.
Well, think about it this way. He's also one of the very few people that was in all three Major League movies.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you the one that really broke me that I'd forgotten about. I wonder if he's pointing at the left fielder. That one got me. That was just, I giggled like a child. Harry Doyle,
okay.
Any WWE Hall of Famer we can be proud of.
That is true. Would you like me to break your brain with a Ueckerism or a Uecker bit here?
Please do.
The very first time I heard Bob Uecker say just a bit outside was sitting next to my grandfather in Port St. Lucie watching a spring training game for the Mets.
Was it a drop or was it really him at the stadium?
No, it was so it was Pop-Up and Bob Uecker sitting next to him.
Oh my God.
He was Bob Uecker's ride from the airport to the stadium, and they wound up sitting together.
I remember I was working at the theater when the first Major League came out, and I remember seeing the first trailer, and the end of the trailer was the just a bit outside clip. And that's before they played the credits, and then there was the scene after. And we've talked about this before about the trivia about that trailer. The scene at the end of the trailer is actually not in the movie, but they used that joke in Major League 2. Because at the end of the trailer, it's the scene where they're all in the restaurant and Rick Vaughn's ripped the sleeves off of his jacket, and he's all mad, and he's like, and Tom Berenger says, "Ball wouldn't have been out of a lot of parks." Rick says, "Name one." He says, "Yellowstone."
Yep.
And they used that in 2, but it wasn't in 1. And I also have fond memories because on my 47th birthday, the world was shut down. I was supposed to go to the Ranger game against the Braves on my birthday with Rachel. It was Whataburger fishing hat night.
Oh boy.
Like the stars were full on aligned.
Everything checks boxes.
And then the world broke. But that night instead, Alex and Rachel came over and we got Whataburger and we watched Major League. And that is something I will always remember.
What do you mean
one
the
of
world broke?
things
That was COVID, dude.
Oh, COVID. The COVID thing canceled. Okay. All right. When you say world broke, someone might not know what you're talking about.
We'll just keep it moving.
Okay.
But before, I was going to save this for when baseball truly started up and spring training. But you know how we've said one of the great things about film is when you're still catching stuff years later?
Mhm.
I never realized the bookend of Major League.
Go ahead.
So, one of the very first lines from Bob Uecker as baseball starts in Arizona with spring training was, you can tell how the season's going to go by the first hitter. The first hitter is Willie Mays Hayes with a swinging bunt to beat it out to first. And the movie, spoiler alert for, I don't want to do the math on how many years, it ends with Jake Taylor on the bunt beating out the throw.
Oh, yeah.
I never realized that. Somebody else had pointed that out to me. Kudos if you're not following it. It is a great page that I am a member of called Romantic About Baseball on social media. They do some really great digging.
One of the best camera shots of our time, too, is that slide.
Oh, yes. The tracing
overhead.
of beating home.
Yeah. From overhead.
And then I don't know, why would they ever go to that close shot on the umpire with the wrong hat? That never goes well.
Just
I mean,
such
he
a-
sells
But
it.
the Milwaukee Brewers have been very, very, like, they put up about 6 really, really classy posts, like on Facebook and Twitter today. That guy was,
There's a lot of
Yeah.
teams doing that, but the
Yeah.
Milwaukee was his home.
And
Yeah.
Don, the quote for your intro was from a Miller Lite commercial he did.
Mhm.
Where
okay.
he was being escorted. He was like, I must be in the front row. And he winds up like all the way up in right field at the top of the thing.
Yeah. So he was a WWE Hall of Famer, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Now, because you said earlier, I just wanted to
Technically, he
confirm.
still is, just for candor.
Well, yeah.
He is
But
in the
what
WWE.
was, I remember seeing him being choked by Andre. What was his role with the WWE? He was just a guest.
He was a
announcer?
celebrity interviewer on
Yeah.
multiple big shows.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And that
He filled in for Mean Gene during bathroom breaks.
That
Okay.
particular was like WrestleMania 3, I think. It's either 2 or 3.
I think that was the lead up. Yeah, I think that was 3.
And one of the best sells of all time, just him, his head just
the
flailing around.
bobblehead
as
of it,
Andre
yeah.
choked him. We miss you, sir.
Already. But I also love the one of the ones that got posted within an hour of the news breaking. There was a sign put on Euchre's statue at the stadium with that quote that says, "Now you're always in the front row, sir," with a Miller Lite unopened set next to it. And I'm like, sometimes people are just awesome.
Love that, man. All right, gentlemen, we are 4 days away from the national championship. Here are your updated standings. The over-under currently is at 500. It is 23-23. And yes, there are 47 bowls this year. Currently in 4th place. And I say 4th place because it is not a guarantee, depending on the pick, that he will be last. With 23 wins and 23 losses is Don. So, Don, the national championship game, Ohio State versus Notre Dame, Sunday night, 6:30 Central on the ESPN from Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. Who you got?
On that right now.
The line right now, Ohio State -6, or it's 6 or 8. It's somewhere in there. But we're not. We're not picking against the spread on this, Don.
Yeah, okay,
Just
I'm going to
straight
say this. So I'm going to say this straight out. Spread or not, I think Notre Dame's going to win. They're going to upset.
up. Oh, all right.
I'm going to say they're going to flat out win.
Only ahead of
last place, I don't
Don.
care.
Only ahead of Don by 1 point is Ziggy. I will be getting his prediction this weekend. I forgot to DM him today. Currently tied for first place at 26-20 are both Alex and myself. Who you got?
Don't make me say it.
All right. Actually, I
Don't
said
make me say it. And at least make sure you put it in small, tiny suck-eye letters.
And so basically we'll tie because I also picked Ohio State. So
but
a lot going
shout out
on.
to Dylan. Dylan ran away with it. Nobody can catch him.
Yeah.
So
How many?
Dylan,
Right.
I'll hit you up to get you your prizes.
What did Dylan get right so far? How many?
Right now, I think he's at 34 or 35 right.
Yeah,
out
crushed
of
it. Just
46.
crushed.
Well, remember, he was 99.9% for like a majority of it. And I have not checked it recently. What are you drinking, sir? That looked like 1972 poison.
This is the sparkling ice straw or cherry starburst. No free ads. Flavor.
Okay, I want to say that the thing I love about this 12 playoff system is that all the first round bye teams, the top 4, all got knocked off the first week. So if it wasn't for the 12 round, there's no way that Ohio or what did
it was the
There's
second
12
week.
teams, 2 rounds.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, no. All the teams that had a bye, it was the second round.
Yeah, got knocked off. And so there had been no way under the old system that either Ohio or Notre Dame would even have a shot at the title. So I love this. I love the 12 playoff system.
That is a valid point. I mean, I have very much enjoyed the 12-team setup.
Yeah.
So have I, but I would love to see if somebody had the old BCS formula to see what the going into bowl season, what the top 4 would have been.
Dylan is still in the 99.9 percentile.
Crushing the game.
He nailed it.
Let's get into NFL talk.
Oh, boy.
If you are going to be watching the Superb Owl on February the 9th, but you're wondering how you're going to do it, Fox announcing yesterday that they will stream the Superb Owl on Tubi. Tubi is a streaming service that you don't have to have a membership for.
But it's so Tubi pops up at the weirdest times.
As soon as I said that, Kai went. That was awesome.
I'm not gonna lie, I have my camera perfectly placed so I cannot see my screen.
That's great. She looked like, what? Tubi? Uncle Rob said Tubi?
Is the Super Bowl not on Fox this year, or what's the deal on that?
That's what I just said, Don.
I mean, it's
Fox
not
announced that they will stream the Superb Owl on Tubi for people that can't get it otherwise.
Okay, but what do you mean otherwise? I mean, is it still going to be on
people who don't have TV, Don?
Well, no, okay. people that maybe don't like, they watch TV on their computer, so they wouldn't have an antenna.
Oh, I see. Okay. I'm just trying to. Okay.
Yeah. No, it's now that I understand where you're going, that's a fair question.
It does make a lot more sense.
I didn't say, did it go to pay-per-view like they've been talking about and all that?
Don't even put that into the internet or into the world.
That will never happen because that will just riots.
Well, I mean, technically, it kind of already could be considered that, but the ad revenue covers it for us.
All right, let's get into, Super Wild Card Weekend. Even though they don't want to call it that anymore, I'm still calling it that. I don't care. Chargers. Chargers giving Houston.
I hope they changed the name just because of that confusion.
I want that. I want it. But I also like Los Angeles Superchargers.
Right, but I just want to hear Chris Berman have to say football Clippers.
They were giving Houston 2.5 and then lost by 20 in a game that wasn't close out of the gate.
No, it wasn't.
But did supply us with one of the greatest moments of the weekend.
Oh,
as
before you even say it, that happened throughout the game. There are cuts of other trash talk. Please go.
Alex and I watched the game on the Nickelodeon feed.
Eventually.
Yeah. And when neither team had scored a touchdown, it was like 6-3. Dora the Explorer pops up and goes, "Who needs a map to the end zone?" And we lost our minds.
So
I was like, cartoon characters are talking smack to the NFL. This is the world I live in.
But the other one, before we actually, because we started off watching on I don't want to call it a proper feed because that almost seems demeaning, because Nickelodeon did do a good job with what
On
they
the
were
main
dealing with. The main feed. Thank you.
Mhm.
Apparently, while we were starting on the main feed before Rob went, "Hey, isn't this also being streamed on Nickelodeon?" And I went, "We're doing that." But apparently Dora popped up after the first sack and was, "Did you see that coming? The quarterback sure didn't." And it's like, oh my God. I need a super cut of Dora trash talk. That's what I really need.
What I really, and I told Alex this during the game, what I really did like also about the Dora the Explorer thing is she explained the penalties, Don.
Okay.
So she would pop up from behind the score. And when she was explaining the penalty, she would literally go, "Delay of game is," and so she was showing what the signal was so
Okay.
kids could learn it. I thought it was brilliantly done.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah.
Like the false start would be.
Yeah,
They made it purely educational without it being demeaning, even for people like us watching. It was really, really cool.
Nate Burleson, SpongeBob SquarePants, and Patrick in the booth.
Oh,
and SpongeBob and Patrick were CGI, but it was that CGI that they can match the voice as you're talking.
Almost that like awkward claymation AI.
I had to go run out yesterday and get my hair cut, and they were talking about it on Good Morning Football, and they were losing it about Patrick's love for J.K. Dobbs.
J.K. Dobbins?
Dobbins, that's his, yeah. They were like, was he just saying his name all the time? I was like, yeah, pretty much.
Oh, no. It was J.K. Scott.
J.K. Scott. Yeah.
Because he was talking about the punters, and he got so excited whenever there was a punt. But the problem was, I don't know if the booth they were in doing like the face mapping or whatever couldn't see the game, because he kept saying the opposite punter for the opposite team. So when it was J.K. Scott coming out, he was like, oh God, what was it? Tommy Townsend. And when J.K. Scott was coming out, it was Tommy Townsend. And eventually it got right, but then it was right back to wrong because it was just kidding, Scott.
His teammates call him just kidding, Scott. Sure, Patrick, why not? Baltimore was giving 9 to Pittsburgh, but it wasn't enough for Pittsburgh to cover as they win by 2 touchdowns. Buffalo shows Denver the door at Highmark Stadium, 31-7 after giving them 8. Philly, that I'm going to say 22-10 is not indicative of that game.
No,
Don't
not
let
at
that
all.
score fool you. Philly was giving them 5.5, but beats them by 12. Live by the doink, die by the doink. Stupid football team. As my Buccaneers. But you know what? That kid with Washington is the truth.
I believe somebody on this show has been saying that since before the draft.
I never denied it.
I know. But Jaden Daniels is absolutely awesome.
They were talking about it on Inside the NFL, and they were showing like close-ups of him, and they're like, he's just stone-faced. Like there's you don't see any kind of panic at all. He just got in there and did the deal.
And he got a chunk taken out of his cheek early in the game. And all I kept hearing from people was like, yeah, you were going to have to get the cart for me. And he's just tripping. And he's like, nope, got a game to play.
And in a game that, boy, was I wrong, as the Rams are all over the Minnesota Vikings 27-9.
Hi, Mike.
Yeah. See that coming. I did not see that coming.
I did not either.
They were almost the number 1 seed. I got
but also shout out to the Arizona Cardinals who sent their private team planes to bring all the staff, all the players, families, and pets to the stadium. So
did you see it didn't end there though? They literally went out of their way to get all of the items, paint, and everything exactly as they would use in SoFi Stadium to ensure that that was as much of a home game as the Rams could have in appearance. It was the exact same paint down to the item number for everything that they use in SoFi to make sure it was authentic. And you know what? I feel like we have to give a pass. We're all Cardinals fans for at least a little while.
Yep. I will also say this. Actually, let's get to this week's games, and then I'll give my opinion on something. Coming up Saturday afternoon at 3:30 Central, Houston goes to Arrowhead Stadium. KC giving 8.5 in a divisional playoff game.
Ugh. But here's the other interesting thing you have with that. This head referee, I'm drawing a blank on his name. Patrick Mahomes has never lost a game he has refereed. However, this season in the 4:30 time slot, so 4:30 Eastern, 3:30 for us, the Chiefs haven't won a game. It's a weird little anomaly. They've had 3 or 4 games and they're 0-for. It's the only games they've lost.
Which
so
way
you're
you
going to
going?
have the first of something.
Which way you going?
Oh, give me the Chiefs. I know that's a big number, but Houston looked terrible up until last week, and they definitely are a better home team.
Don.
Well, with 8.5, I'm gonna take. I'm not gonna take the Chiefs. I'm gonna take the Raiders.
The Texans.
Texans. I mean,
there you go. I also am taking the Texans plus 8.5. I don't think they're going to win this game, but it's what Kansas City has done almost all season. They're doing enough to win, which is the smart move. You only got to win by a point. You don't have to blow everybody out. And then you can go to the Super Bowl and go nuts.
But in that same scope, though, the Chiefs have been barely ahead. Their defense is really clicking, and they are now finally, for the first time all season, at full strength on offense. I still don't think it's going to be enough to get them back, but that's a dangerous thought.
In another game of the teams are a combined 27-7 this year. Football Club goes to Ford Field, and Detroit's giving them 9.5.
This is going to be a fun game. This is going to be a fun game.
I'm taking Detroit. They're going to be hot. I'm taking Detroit, even with that many points.
I will stick to Jaden Daniels. I think Detroit wins, but I think it's going to be closer than people think, just because Washington's offense is going to be able to try and keep pace, but they'll never get ahead.
Team of Destiny. Give me Detroit minus 9.5, because here's the thing. If Detroit gets up on them, we know MCDC well enough. He will not take his foot off the gas.
My favorite, almost Onion style report was, wait, we have Dan Quinn and Dan Campbell facing each other. Are the punters even going to be there?
And
the only reason there would be a punter is for kickoff purposes.
Sunday, midday, 2:00 Central, the Rams go to the Link. Philly giving 6.
Rams are tough, but I still think the Phillies at home is going to win the thing.
I agree with Don, especially since the Rams are so much better as an indoor team, similar to Detroit. So I think they might have some trouble. Did you see the weather report?
I did not.
Oh. Okay, so what time does the game start, Rob?
2:00 Central.
All right. So for our time in the Central, at 1:30, snow flurries are supposed to start and go the entire day.
Yeah, give me Philly minus 6.
Saquon Barkley might set records. I'm just saying.
Give me the Philly minus 6, because this is just... Philly kind of scares me right now.
They do have potential.
I love that both of my Super Bowl picks are still alive, and this brings me joy.
I think that's both of us.
I think it's all 3 of us.
I don't think so. I think Don had Jacksonville somewhere.
Because all 3 of us did have Detroit. I can say that.
Yeah.
And then 5:30 Central on Sunday, Baltimore goes to Highmark Stadium and is giving Buffalo a point.
The line that low, I'm taking Buffalo.
That's a surprise.
This is gonna be a game, kids.
Of course. I'll take Buffalo.
This has the potential to be one of the best NFL games we've had in years.
And just remember, folks, it is that Rob Irvin if he just got the kiss of death.
I'm
but
saying
no, I agree.
I mean, I think at least I want to say at least I had this as the AFC Championship, which I didn't because I have the Chiefs winning. But we did say Baltimore would make the playoffs and go far. But yeah, I don't know where to go though.
I believe the only difference between you and I think the only difference between your picks and my picks, Rob, were I had Detroit beating Baltimore and you had the Chiefs beating Detroit.
There we go. Yeah, because I said you're the champ till somebody tells you otherwise.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which has been the theme for.
If I can, the winner of that Buffalo game goes to the Super Bowl, even if KC wins.
I said that last week.
Yeah,
I said that last week when they win.
Now, I would say still give me Buffalo +1 because even though they both play outdoors, there's something about that stadium and Bills Mafia that just gives them an edge. And if
it's
Josh
that lake
Allen,
effect.
Yeah, and if Josh Allen, they said on Inside the NFL last week, if he puts on the cape, get ready.
And I hate the Ravens, but if the Ravens win, I still think they're going to beat KC.
Okay,
I agree.
Well,
and I think the Ravens do win
Super Bowl. They kind of have to.
No, I mean, I'm just saying if they win the game, that they will beat KC the next week. Is what I'm saying. If KC wins, so 4-5. What?
I have the Ravens.
The Super Bowl would say the winner of this game is going to beat KC because that's who they'd have to play to get to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
I'll do the Don. I'm going to be daring and say it doesn't matter who wins the other game. Whoever wins this goes to the Super Bowl and loses. Because they're the two best teams in the NFL right now outside of Detroit.
You're not wrong. That's why this is going to be fun.
For me, I'm taking Baltimore. Yes, the home field advantage is real in Buffalo, but Baltimore is playing like a more complete team right now. The only thing that would be really curious to me is to see where Zay Flowers is, and I have not seen an update on his injury reports yet. If Zay Flowers is healthy, that becomes a reversal game, and they're probably favored by 3.
NBA standings?
Garbage.
Thank you. At Eastern Conference Atlantic Division, the Toronto Raptors, hey, they got their 10th win, but they've still lost 31 games. They are 18.5 back. They are 4 back on Brooklyn. Nets are 2 back on Philly. Philly now 10.5 games back on the Knicks. They've lost 4 in a row. The Knicks now 2 back on Boston. In the Central Division, the Chicago Bulls, how the mighty have fallen. They're 18-23. They're 17 back, and they've lost 3 in a row. The Pistons, former champs of basketball, they are 3.5 ahead of Chicago, and they've won 2. They are a half game back of the Pacers. Pacers 1 back on Milwaukee, and the Bucks are now 12 back on Cleveland. In the Southeast Division, the Washington Wizards, they have a 158 winning percentage right now. They've lost 7 in a row. They are 6-32. However, they are 6-32, but they're only 15 games back in the division. They're 3.5 back.
So tell me why the NBA got rid of divisions in the playoffs.
Charlotte now 10 games back on the Heat, who are just trade Jimmy Butler, get it done. I'm sick of hearing about it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and by the way, I'm just going to say this. Deion Sanders is not coaching the Cowboys. They're a half game back.
Werder would disagree.
The Hawks are now a game back in Orlando. I think he coaches in Vegas. In the Western Conference, Pacific Division, the Phoenix Suns are 11 games below 500, and they're 3 back in the division.
See what happens when you stop calling them Phoenix?
They are a half game back of Golden State. Golden State and Sacramento are at 500 right now. That's insane. They are both a half game back on the Lakers. The Lakers are now a half game back on the Clippers, who have the best arena in basketball right now.
Yes, they do.
In the Southwest Division, Fly Pelican is 12 games below 518 back. They are 10.5 games back of the Spurs. Spurs now 2 back on Dallas. Dallas 4 back on Memphis. Memphis is 2 games back on Houston because they've won 5 in a row. In the Northwest Division, the Utah Jazz, they're, 19 games below 500. They're 23 back. They are 3 games back on Portland. The Trailblazers are 7.5 back on Minnesota. Minnesota 3 back on Denver. Denver now 9.5 back on OKC, who have won 3 and are in a row and are 9-1 in their last 10. That team is coming alive again.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into the NHL.
The playoffs.
Where we're 15 minutes into the game in Sunrise, Florida, and it's 3-2 Detroit. Into the second, 15 minutes into the second period. Let's get some defense going, boys. Those standings, Eastern Conference, the Buffalo Sabres, they're still terrible. They are, they're a nice 17 points out of first place. They are 5 points behind the Red Wings. Red Wings now 2 back on Montreal. We got to. You did it, but I couldn't hear you. There's like a delay.
That is weird.
Mic. I think it's the way his mic works. And one of these days when I get over there, we're gonna fix it.
Okay.
But Don did it, and he gets credit for it because I saw it.
Definitely. No. He did it as a French mime. That's today.
He is Donso. I'm a genius.
Donso.
Let's see. The Canadiens are a point back on Ottawa. The Senators now 2 back on Boston, who are tied with my Lightning. Lightning now 6 back on my Panthers. The Panthers now a point back on Toronto because Toronto's dropped 3 in a row. Where are we going, Don?
The Metropolitan Division.
You are correct, sir. Where the New York Islanders are 22 games back in this division. They're 2 back on the Rangers. The Rangers now a point behind. Don, your Pittsburgh Penguins are currently tied with Philly at 44 points. Okay. But they're 4 back on Columbus because Columbus is on a 5-game heater. And let me tell you something. I was watching the intermission report here on the game on the S-Spin. Okay. And they showed alternate jerseys for both the Red Wings and Columbus. The Red Wings, it was just like a cursive Detroit right here. But the Columbus Blue Jackets, it was just a cannon. And I was like, let's go. Let's see. Where are we? Columbus.
Detroit. I never heard the term Detroit.
That's what that's the one of the nicknames for Detroit.
That was the original intended pronunciation of Detroit.
Okay.
It actually was Detroit before it was Detroit.
Columbus now 7 back on the Hurricanes. Carolina 2 back on the Devils. The Devils are now 6 back on the Washington Capitals. Let's go to the Western Conference because that's what you do. In the Central Division, the Chicago Blackhawks are still terrible.
They're going to be good someday.
They are currently 33 points back after playing 44 games. They are 5 points behind Nashville. Predators are 8 back on Hockey Club. Hockey Club is 3 back on St. Louis. The Blues are 9 back on Colorado. Colorado breathing down Dallas's neck by 2 points, but Dallas is right on top of Minnesota, only back by 1. And the Jets, without Benny, are 5 games up on Minnesota in the Pacific Division.
There's somebody named Benny on the team just to prove that wrong. You know what? No, I can't look anything up because we still have something else.
That's right. Speaking of which, I watched one of those mini docs on YouTube about the band, the Jets from the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And Benny and the Jets is where their name comes from.
So
really?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Benny and the Jets what?
Remember the band, the Jets, Don?
Yeah.
Their name comes from Benny and the Jets.
Okay.
Hey, kid. Let's see. San Jose will get there.
Yeah.
They're right behind Seattle. Seattle is tied with Anaheim. They're both 7 games back on Vancouver. The Canucks are a point back on Calgary. Flames are now 4 back on the Kings. Kings 6 back on Edmonton. And Vegas leads that division by 2 points. Edmonton is on a 3-game heater. Gentlemen, it is now time for North America's favorite game show. What is the goal differential for the San Jose Sharks? I like to let the echo ring a little bit.
Yeah. I gave the same answer last week and I was over. And I'll probably give you over again, but I'm going to keep saying this until I'm under -50. I'm saying -50 until I never go over.
Well, I said 40 last week, and I think I was over as well. So I'm going to say -43. I think they got past that.
Gentlemen?
Yeah.
We're both over.
You are both over.
Okay.
I will tell you this. The Chicago Blackhawks, their goal differential is only 2 goals better than San Jose right now.
Oh.
The San Jose Sharks have played 46 games. They are 14-26-6 in those games for a total of 34 points, which currently puts them 27 points out of first place in January.
Yep.
They are 8-14-1 at home, 6-12-5 on the road. They are 3-7-0 in their last 10. The San Jose Sharks currently have a goal differential of -41.
Oh, I was a week early.
And that is where we are at. Let's get into TV as we talk stuff we watched this week. Television edition. What you got, boys?
Well, it's not new. I did binge back through the league because missing football with the playoffs there and feeling like I might have to put my fandom on eBay if we make a certain draft pick that I think will be stupid. But for the more recent effect, have either of you gentlemen watched Shrinking?
My wife started watching that this week, and she said she liked it a lot.
Okay, I loved the first season. The second season dropped end of last year with the finale happening, or the season finale happening on Christmas Eve. I apologize, Don. Did you say you had or had not?
No. What's it? No.
Okay, so real quick, Shrinking on Apple TV Plus is the Harrison Ford, Jason Segel. Is it Siegel or Segel?
Siegel.
Jason Segel. And I believe Jennifer Williams. It's based around these therapists, and Jason Segel. It's in the trailer, so it's not really a spoiler. It picks up with him in the first season, basically still being in the middle of mental breakdown because his wife has passed. Very unexpectedly, very tragically. So it's him trying to put his life back together while also having his daughter who has to pick up a lot of slack because he's no longer an adult. But getting into the second season, oh man, it's so good. I just started it the last couple of days. I'm halfway through the second season. And give Brett Goldstein everything he ever wants. Just give it to him.
I love that man.
Because at one point, I started giggling during a moment that was emotional. So I'm not ashamed to admit it. I was crying, but then I started laughing independently. So it wasn't laughing so hard I cried, because he turned and did the Roy Kent walk. And I'm like, wait, is that just how Brett Goldstein walks?
Could well be. Don, you got anything from this week, TV-wise?
Yeah, that we started because we got the Hulu subscription.
Mazel
We
tov.
binged the second season of The Bear and started on the third.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Yeah,
I still got to do the third season.
the first we got halfway through the first show in the third season. I love the first 12 minutes.
Yeah. They do that. They're great with the hook.
Just say nothing, just
Let it breathe.
let it breathe. Love
I got
it.
nothing. I got nothing.
Okay.
All right, Disney Plus with a big announcement this week. Season 2 of Ahsoka. As we know, we lost Ray Stevenson this past year, but we are replacing the actor. Alex, did you see who is playing Balin Skull.
Balin Skull.
Skull, I'm sorry.
Because that is also Balin Skull.
Hi, Balin. My dude.
No, he's unconscious.
Okay.
Yes, I did see this. Do you have the note about why he was the best choice?
I just saw that it was Rory McCann from Game of Thrones, and I'm ready for it.
Well, don't forget, he also had his turns in Hot Fuzz, too.
Yeah, but
Yarp.
most people would know him from Game of Thrones.
Yes, he was the Hound in Game of Thrones. But it turns out Rory McCann and Ray Stevenson supposedly were incredibly close friends as being larger actors that most people didn't approach, so they had each other, but were both very kind, intelligent European actors. So they were saying that because Rory knew Ray as well as any other actor while still being able to physically embody that size of a character, that he would probably be the best choice to be able to do his friend justice. And I was like, oh, my heart. Because I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. And then I saw the reason, and I'm like, everything gets a pass. Let's go.
Food Network. We don't talk about them a lot, but they announced today that they have renewed Harry Potter Wizards of Baking for a second season.
Incredibly popular show. I've even heard, and I don't watch Food Network.
Fox has renewed Murder in a Small Town for a second season.
We started watching that. The first didn't finish off the season. It was okay.
Your next 2 episodes of
I wish I had the ability of Don to just cut bait on a show.
Yeah, I can't.
I would have stopped watching Ozark in like the second season.
Your next 2 weeks of SNL this Saturday night will be Dave Chappelle and the Glorilla.
Okay. And
next week, January 25th, will be Timothy Chalamet and Timothy Chalamet.
Man, that's going to be interesting. Do they get the Adam Sandler return because of the Golden Globes for that?
I don't know. We'll see. Also, they did announce that the SNL 50 documentary will be a 4-parter on Peacock.
Is that all? Because I feel like every one of those 4 parts would probably have to be about 2 hours.
I don't know if I'm more excited for that or for the Questlove documentary about the music performances.
I think you'd be more excited for the show just because there's more to it, whereas you are very knowledgeable about music. So I don't know that you would really get that much.
All I know is they better interview Elvis Costello.
Absolutely.
Because that story is amazing. Like, that was SNL as SNL. Like, about the most SNL thing they could have done. Netflix has paid 7 figures to adapt Anna Hong's Twisted book series. Now, I talked to a friend of the show, Ashley. She has told me about this. She said, it's raunchy, so get ready. But she said the books are very, very popular, and Netflix cut the check. And season 5 of You will debut April the 24th. Speaking of that show, coming up this weekend, I will be in New Braunfels, Texas for Retromania, where I'll be doing some what they call Q&As. Mm-hmm. And one of them will be, I just lost it, with Christopher Sean, who is on that show.
And we would be remiss if we didn't say the arguably You fan one, I believe, is Charlotte.
Oh, I will make sure I tell her.
I want to say that is an accurate statement because if I remember correctly, we always have those recommendations like us telling Don to watch Ted Lasso or various different things. I want to say Charla followed me around for like 40 minutes being like, no, you don't understand how good it is. And I'm like, okay, I'll watch. Don't hurt me.
I will check with my sister.
Well, when we had the free Apple weekend, I got a couple of the Ted Lassos in.
And what did you think?
Yeah, but there are, it was so many episodes. There's like, 36 episodes or something like that.
What did you think?
Like that?
Yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I did. I don't know if it's worth the subscription there. Yeah, I don't know.
We'll buy the Blu-ray.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Alex and I both have the Blu-rays. So
yeah,
nothing new on TV and DVD on Blu-ray this week.
Okay.
We do have a quick music note that dropped today.
Oh, really?
I don't know if you boys heard about this.
I don't know any music news right now.
It comes from Sphere.
Oh, no.
Coming up in May for 12 shows, Kenny Chesney will be the first country artist to have a residency there.
I don't dislike Kenny Chesney. I'm okay with that.
And what he does the whole beach vibe thing.
Yes, he
And
he very much feels like home.
And I think that's going to look cool in Sphere, because it's not the Sphere, it's Sphere.
Mhm.
So saw that today. We have got RIPs in almost every segment tonight, because
sucks.
also passing away earlier today at the age of 78, as we get into movie talk, was one David Lynch.
Mhm.
This is the man responsible for Twin Peaks. This is the man who did Velvet, Mulholland Drive. Those of you that are younger might remember him as the bartender on the Cleveland Show. Hello, Cleveland. I'm glad you're here today.
I didn't know that was David Lynch. I just thought it was somebody with the same name.
Yep.
Oh my.
My
Today I
David
learned.
Head on.
Yeah, it was. It really was. No, my favorite one for that one, and obviously not trying to make light of it, because the dude, as Rob would be one to say, had skins in the game,
Yeah,
or
he did.
skins on the. It was just along the lines of a relatively similar aged gentleman to me, basically saying, "Oh man, tough day for all the girls I pretended to understand David Lynch's films to impress."
Kyle MacLachlan had a very wonderful post about him today.
I would expect nothing less.
All right, gentlemen, let's get into stuff we watched this week. Movie edition. The only movie I watched, we'll talk about here in a minute.
I was TV intensive this week, Don.
Same thing. We're getting the movie talk on a certain.
All right, not a lot of movie.
We are in kind of that weird zone before stuff really picks up
Yeah.
in the early January.
Just a couple of headlines this week in movie news. Apparently, there are plans for 3 more Den of Thieves films.
I am good with it. I haven't seen the second one yet, but after that first one, you just give them the money. I know they were #1 at the box office, and O'Shea Jackson is always very open about his appreciation of it.
And speaking of sequels, make sure you get a hold of Matinee Heroes this week, as Elizabeth, Craig, and I talk about Lethal Weapon 2. And we had a blast. I'm actually going to be back on there. My 4K has not shown up for the next movie yet. It's stuck somewhere, and I don't know where it's stuck somewhere in Capel. It's been there for 2 days.
The distribution center. That's Capel.
So we have new Scream 7 casting. I don't know if you guys saw this today.
I did.
We are
I giggled.
We are about to meet Sidney Prescott's husband, Mark, who will be played by the great, and on my bucket list to interview, Joel McHale.
I want to know what they're going to do with that, though. Because, is there any way you cast Joel McHale and not kill him?
I love that. I love that analogy.
I just can't see him and just not hear Clipos Magnificos in my head.
I hate you so much right now. Balin, you do the show.
That man is... There was never a bad host of The Soup, but dear God, that man took it to a different level.
I feel like he was the first one that truly embraced it beyond it just being a stepping stone. I feel like everybody else had their foot out the door.
I mean, you look at the lineup. I mean,
just between Hal and Chris, you already had guys that were doing other things.
Right, but you had Greg Kinnear.
Mm-hmm.
You had Aisha Tyler. You had Hal Sparks, who would go into a lot of acclaim with the L Word.
Mm-hmm.
You had John Henson, who went into a very successful writing career. And then Joel McHale, and it was just like,
remember Chris Hardwick did it for a minute.
No, he did Tech Soup.
Well, no. He did Talk Soup as well. I believe he might have been like the substitute. I remember vividly seeing him do the regular.
Because you had Tech Soup, and then you had Sports Soup with Matt Eisman.
Mm-hmm.
That was on Versus, which I also very much enjoyed. But I just remember on Tech Soup, he had Allison Brie on, and he said something. She's like, "I'm going to tell Joel." He's like, "No." In other news that makes me feel old, Sofia Coppola's The Virgin Suicides turns 25 this year, and there will be special screenings with Kirsten Dunst.
Oh,
wow.
It was announced today. So check your local listings. for selected cities.
Mhm.
And as Letterman used to say, I pray your city has been selected. Movie new releases and places you get movie new releases this week. Actually today for me, because I saw Unstoppable. It's good.
You know I refuse.
I know, but it's a good flick. And, Coconut Creek High School alumnus Bobby Cannavale's in it.
I do like Bobby.
And Eddie Award winner. Also, the Wolf Man, which I almost went Chris Tucker on that. Wolf Man! Hearing some very mixed reviews on this.
I have not heard anything positive yet. I have literally heard the word schlock more than I care to mention.
But also not necessarily always a bad thing. But
Tried getting in for that, but it was already feeling like our speed, them. But yeah, if I could have gone, I probably would have gone, but I kind of missed out.
But Don saw a movie this week.
Oh, dear Lord.
Don,
that's a great start.
I got to ask you.
Yeah.
And I don't know that you'll know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Okay. Go ahead.
The title of this film.
Yeah.
One of Them Days.
Mm-hmm.
Did they play the Monica song? Just one of them days when I want to be alone. Did they play that at all?
No, I don't remember it. I don't remember.
This marketing opportunity.
Okay.
It's a great song.
Okay.
Don't take
It is.
personal.
They possibly could have, but I was
1997. Checking in.
Yeah. It kind of reminded me of Friday too much.
Yeah. You said that in your written review, currently located at www.theclubhousepodcast.com.
That's our website.
Also this week, actually I need to pull up. There's one that I'm going to get to. I'm going to come back to because I put it on there just because it sounded weird. And then I looked up what it was and I was like, now I kind of want to see this. We have a movie this week called, and this is not the one I'm talking about. It's called Wish You Were Here. A woman searching for a spark finds a whirlwind night of romance with a man only to discover he's terminally ill and commits to helping him spend the last days of living his life to the fullest. This was co-written and directed by Julia Stiles.
Really?
How about that?
Is there a list?
Could be.
Yeah.
And is it Julia Stiles or is it Erica? What was the other girl that looked just like her? Is it Erica Christensen?
Oh man, I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't know that I ever knew her name. I remember it was Julia Stiles and not Julia Stiles. That was how I knew them.
I think her name was Erica Christensen. We also have Autumn and the Black Jaguar this week. After years in New York City, 14-year-old Autumn returns to the Amazon rainforest to save her childhood village and beloved jaguar friend. Emily Bett Rickards is in this. Arrow shout out. We also have...
Okay, for the ultimate in irony, it appears that One of Them Days is not on the soundtrack to One of Them Days, though in the vein of Don's reference, Check Yourself by Ice Cube is.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself. I'm bad for your health. I come like stealth. That's right. I love that song. We also have And the Breadwinner Is. This is a foreign film by the looks of things. A film that focuses on a breadwinner and her family, which serves as a tribute to the unsung heroes who carry the weight of their loved ones and dreams on their shoulders. But now let's go back. Do not look this up, gentlemen.
Oh, I'm not.
I'm going to tell you the name of this. And you're going to
play the guessing game.
And you're going to go, I'm sorry, what?
Okay.
It is called Grand Theft Hamlet.
Huh?
I did already know about this.
Struggling actors Sam and Mark find solace from lockdown isolation by staging Hamlet in Grand Theft Auto Online.
Oh, I didn't know about this.
I need this in my life.
I know it's the wrong game, but there better be a Leroy Jenkins mention.
Oh. I saw this and I'm like,
methinks thou doth protest too much. Leroy!
I need this in my life. I have to seek this out.
Oh, is it actually in theaters or is it just dropping?
It's a theatrical release, to my knowledge.
Okay, that is getting Googled now. I am not waiting.
The IMDb says in theaters. Let me see if I can find showtimes in your eyes.
That's what I'm doing now. Don't worry about it.
Stonebriar and Grapevine Mills have it. And it's 89 minutes, so it's a quick in out. This I may go on the holiday and watch this. Use one of my A-lists. Because Monday's the holiday.
Interestingly enough, started in the UK. Original release date December 6th, and just caught fire apparently over there.
I need this in my life. Okay, movies on DVD and Blu-ray this week. Venom: The Last Dance, if you're feeling that saucy. The Substance, one of Don's favorite films from this past year, hits DVD and Blu-ray on Tuesday.
I'm sorry, that can't be right. Oh my God. Grand Theft Hamlet has a 96% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Let's go.
Oh my God, this is amazing.
Oh, they've only got
45 reviews. That's not just like 5 reviews. 45 reviews. It's at 96%.
On Monday, there's only one showing at Stonebriar and one showing at Grapevine Mills.
And I have no idea about my availability because I don't know that we're off.
Smile 2. Well, they're both in the evening.
Okay.
Stonebriar 6:40, Grapevine Mills 7:20. Smile 2, which I read the Wikipedia page on this because I was curious. Don didn't necessarily enjoy it, but I felt like the ending kind of sticks the landing.
You had made mention of that. Sean liked it a lot, so.
No spoilers. Teach their own on that,
Also available this coming Tuesday here, the Tom Hanks, Robin Wright experimental film. See it if you're bored. The Return, which I was really bummed we didn't get to screen. This is with Charlie Plummer. This is also Ray Fiennes and Juliette Binoche are in this.
Yes. Actually, that's available on Prime Video. I'm really interested in this one.
Yes,
have you watched the trailer?
I'm seeing footage from it now, but I've heard about it and I'm very interested, but I'll want to wait till I can watch it.
The trailer looks legit. It is the final piece of the Odyssey that most people do not acknowledge. And Ray Fiennes, the dude can do no wrong.
Arrow Video does the Jennifer Lopez vehicle, The Cell, this week. And Criterion Collection releases The Grifters, which is a film I may need to revisit because I may not have had enough life experience to appreciate it the first time I saw it in the early 90s.
Okay.
So I may have to revisit that. Annette Bening, John Cusack, Angelica Houston. A couple of quick tech talk things. First of all, we'll see what happens on Sunday with TikTok. Also,
well, there's already been reports about a 2 to 3 month delay.
Chinese version, kind of a red box where people are
red
now
stamp
signing up for that one instead. Now
I'm not doing all that. But Nintendo has announced that the Switch 2 is coming later this year with a more powerful processor in it.
Don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah,
I think we need to get. You know what we need to do when we get closer? We need to get Steven Zimmerman on the show so he can talk about it.
Yeah. And now, this. We didn't get to it last week, but we're doggone going to get to it this week. The Cheap Podcast is your one-stop shop for all things professional wrestling. MLW has announced this week that Fightland will be in our Fairburg at the NYTEX Sports Center on September the 13th.
Did you see what they said that they pulled for Kings of Coliseum in NYTEX?
Yeah, I did not.
Okay, I want to do this sight unseen. Rob, how many people do you think NYTEX sits in its setup for MLW? Ballpark.
750.
They claimed to have had a crowd of 2,400 plus.
I'd like to see the paperwork on
that. I'd like to see where they were sitting.
Where's the NYTEX at?
The NYTEX
North Richland Hills.
North Richland Hills.
It's way, well, actually, it might not be too far for you, Don.
I know that area. I mean,
you walk in and you smell the hockey.
That is very accurate.
Shockwave was a thing. I got my old school NWA t-shirt. I was very excited about this. At the OC Theater in Forney, gorgeous facility. Perfect for the NWA. It really reminded me of a modernized version of the 80s setup for World Championship Wrestling.
Now, would you care to elaborate on like what I was telling you about when I went for the Crockett Cup, how I was like, this is a small venue, but it is perfectly laid out. You can fill it very easily. The technology that runs through the rafters with the lighting and everything plays perfectly for smaller shows. And there's plenty of space. I can tell you right now, though, those first row seats were about 2 feet further back than they were for the Crockett Cup.
Well, and first of all, shout out to you guys for that present. That was awesome.
To Sean.
Yeah. Well, but you're a package.
I don't steal credit.
I will tell you this, Don.
Yeah.
We were sitting front row. There was no railing.
Really?
No railing and no padding on the outside. And
I got exactly 2 sips of water.
Yeah. Sign guy was there.
No padding, so if they fall in the cement, they're going to do
And there were high
Well,
spots.
it's not cement.
But
it's a...
you just lost your microphone, Alex. But no, I mean, there's no padding. It was straight to the floor, and there were high spots. We got you. You're back. You're back.
Okay. Good. But it is a raised flooring where they run a lot of, like, have you ever seen a performance center where they have like the weird squares on top of the floor? But that's because they're running cables and everything underneath.
Yeah,
that's the kind of flooring they have.
And Don, I want you to think of the Wiley Theater and shrink it by about 2/3.
The main one where we watched the Christmas thing.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So about a third of that size.
Yep.
Basically the size of just the stage, basically during a Christmas.
Pretty much. Yeah, that's a good call.
Okay.
They went about 2.5 hours, and there was like maybe 2 promos. It was match. So they were probably taping the promos out in the hallway.
Well, and even the in-ring promo that we got from wrestling perspective was merely saying like, hey, we know this was advertised, but we're pivoting to this because reasons.
And got to see a Reality of Wrestling tag team, the Money Birds, who were kind of shocked when I was like, oh, it's the Money Birds.
Yeah.
I don't think they were expecting
They were so excited.
They were.
You were their favorite person, and it was no hesitation.
I'm a big fan of them.
They were great.
They did great work.
Yeah.
And they, as of last Sunday, I don't know how far behind we are right now, but at that point, they were the Reality of Wrestling Women's Tag Team Champions. So they a lot of great work going on. Mm-hmm. I did hear a couple of spots.
Oh, yeah.
Because of where the way I was facing, I was not at hard cam, which was a little strange. And it airs on X, Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saving the hammer for when it actually happens.
Which hammer?
The one we're waiting on video evidence of.
From the man that we saw pictures of from Buc-ee's.
Yes.
Yeah.
All I know is if it's on video, it is getting freeze framed, and we are plastering it everywhere.
I have been told my shoes were wet because a certain item did not arrive at my house soon enough.
Oh, dear. But it was a great
time. No spoilers. Yeah.
It was a great time. We had a blast. Shout out to everybody involved.
You know, the only thing missing from there, which I don't think would ever happen because it is part of a campus and they have small restaurants that are open inside, like, I guess mall style would be the best way to put it. It's like a nice restaurant just somewhere on those grounds.
On
like,
that,
I'm not even talking, you know what? I'm going to say not even a nice restaurant, just like a Chili's or something where you could grab a bite to eat, then go to the show.
And I sent Don a picture, and he never responded.
Who that was?
Not.
You didn't know who that was?
Wait, okay, pause. Who was the picture of without saying the name?
When I went to the bathroom.
Oh, you mean the stunt double?
I sent that picture to you for a specific reason.
Don.
I see a guy with the beard with the bald
I'm
head.
ashamed of you right now.
Okay, the guy on the right is Wrecking Ball Nagurski. That's got me in the head.
Nagurski, yeah.
Okay.
That's
He's
not
actually a friend of the
who
show.
we're talking
Okay,
about.
pause.
Oh,
Don,
is that my hero?
I was going to say, who's your favorite Money in the Bank winner of all time?
Yes! Aaron Stevens.
What was he like?
He was real. Some kid
Great
was.
guy.
There was it because they were just walking around in the lobby.
Yeah.
So you can just walk right up. But there was a little kid. I was like, he's here first. And the kid shakes his hand and goes, I'm not a fan of you. And he goes, please keep your passion because it keeps me employed. Like,
Yeah. The dude gets it.
And he was really, really nice.
There were two moments he absolutely popped me. One was during the main event. Spoiler. But he was outside the ring. And when you know, because everybody knows Sign Guy Rick. Either you know who Rick is or you're just not involved. So he's jawing back and forth. And at one point, the action's going on, and Aaron gets real close in his face and like is pointing like he's being mean, and he's just having a conversation with Rick. And it's like the most casual thing of like, hey, are you going to Genesis? It's like, okay. Yeah. What about Raw? Are you really? And it's like, but then there was the other time where the main event ends and he's leaving, and I'm just standing in front of him, and I just look at him and go, but I wanted you for champion. And he goes, I know, sit down.
Well, he was really cool though behind the scenes.
He has that is the second time I've been fortunate enough to interact with him on short. That dude is cool as can be. Like, he is one of my favorite people I have interacted with at a wrestling event.
And we also got to see Don Trouble.
Who threatened me or had his life.
Let me ask you this. Honestly, if he comes back or something and there's an event, let me know.
Hold on a second. You're talking about Aaron Stevens, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, you'll know. Whenever NWA comes in, he's one of their big guys because he helps with, he has a mind for the business. He understands the business probably as well as anybody in that company. So he is very primary front and center whenever they are anywhere.
Okay.
Did you hear who else we saw?
Who?
Trouble. EC3.
Oh, really?
And he's
Don,
like peasants.
And he heel moved me. He
no.
Alex, and he heel moved me.
Well, no. But the thing is, he didn't see it. I didn't have my hand up. He was just, after he pulled back, he was really cocky with himself. So I just punched his fist real quick. And then
I met him that one time at Slammiversary. He was really nice.
He seems like that. But his champion because what NWA has done is they have basically done satellites of what their performers, like their home territories or the territories they own. They include them. And he had lackeys from Exodus Pro, which is the one he has. But his champion, how big did they list that dude at? Because he's like 6'7", 6'10", if you include the hair. And he's a big dude and can move.
That belt was dope.
Yeah, it was. I want that belt, actually.
Go ahead.
But fist bumping him, he had the champion come back and threaten me that I'm lucky he didn't have him kill me. I'm like, okay, killer, settle down.
TNA news. Masha Slamovich, Ash by Elegance, Nick Nemeth, and John Schuyler of the Good Hands have all signed new deals. Genesis will be in our Fairburg on Sunday night.
Mm-hmm.
Expect an NXT presence after the big announcement today that they will be crossing over a lot more. Moose is scheduled to unveil a new X Division belt.
Oh, nice.
Impact last week, he said that that's not worthy of him.
Yeah, $25 general admission is still available, as well as select floor seats, but you better bring your checkbook because they are $600.
Woo!
What?
Well, to clarify, the ones that are available are $600.
Yeah, I know.
But they are the keep the seats. You get a taco bar with Nick Nemeth and the Hardys and
tacos.
So, what do you think, Ash by Elegance? How long before she gets the belt?
I don't think it's going to happen.
I
honestly don't think it's going to happen. Now that they have the returning that they love for God knows why.
Now, what about how long is
my
Grace?
God, I just realized something.
Well, what about Grace? How long is she in now? What's her?
This is her last match with them, Don.
That's what I thought.
This is her last match under contract with them.
Right.
Yeah.
To clarify, like we said with the deal.
Yeah.
Rob, do you realize you got a step closer to something you wanted?
What's that?
With that deal?
What's that?
The 4 Horsewomen proper?
Oh, yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
And if you saw my reaction to Tom Latimer, I'm going to say the name. You saw my reaction to Tom Latimer. Expect that exact same thing for her.
Another R.I.P.
bullies
Black
well.
Bart passed
Oh.
away while we didn't get to talk about it last week at 76. Legend.
Mm-hmm. The number of Texas individuals that he
You broke up
trained
again.
and brought into the business.
What heart?
Black Bart.
Black Bart. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It is
watching
now
him in like world class championship. I mean, yeah, he was a worker.
Yep. It is now
Great trainer.
2026 Royal Rumble will be in Saudi.
Oh dear God.
Not the British Royal Rumble, the actual Rumble.
I know.
But remember the other thing that we've talked about for the last few weeks on this. What time are they starting?
Probably noon.
Well, but what I'm saying is they made the announcement that they're not going to adjust to the programming. So what time allow me to rephrase my question, Don. I apologize.
Yeah.
What time are they starting in Saudi? And then that means what time is the Royal Rumble next year going to be on, I don't know, Netflix, Peacock? Oh.
I think it'll still be on Peacock because I think that deal goes through the end of next year.
But the point I'm getting at is they've said that they're no longer going to delay international stuff. So I don't know because, you know what? I'm going to do a quick Google, like what time, because the Rumble this year starts at 6 a.m. or 6 p.m. Eastern.
Correct.
So I'm going to look like 6 p.m.
That's going to be
Jeddah
11
time.
a.m. here.
It's going to be at least 1
a.m.
o'clock, 1 a.m.
No,
About
11
midnight or
a.m.
1.
They still do it in prime time, Don. That's why it's at noon here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he's talking the delay, what time?
See, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, so if they start at 6 p.m. in Saudi, it would be 9 a.m. here.
Yeah.
And plus with the daylight savings at that time too.
Because they don't observe that. So
you know what we're gonna have to do?
Math.
And this I'm just gonna do a little tease. If we keep our normal partnerships, we're gonna have to do some Rumble and bacon.
Speaking of which, February 1st, WWE Royal Rumble. X Golf Frisco. Be there. We're going back this year. We'll be doing the show live. We're going to have some very special guests in the house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very excited about that. Our normal Rumble party, come on out. You'll be able to play some golf, watch the Rumble, all the general chicanery that comes with this show. It's going to be awesome. And they're also celebrating their 1-year anniversary that day.
If I can, we're going to have something to open that day too. Something just came in.
Good. That's good news.
A little crate.
Well, see, that would have been more fun to surprise. But I dig it.
Yeah.
It's the first one we've had in a while too.
Also,
well, no, we did two at the thing at the because it's every 3 months, and we got that last one in when we did that at Rob's house.
Right, but what I'm saying is that was a while ago.
Yeah.
Speaking of WWE and places to watch, also Cosm will be hosting WWE Please going forward. If you don't know what Cosm is, there is one right up the street from my house. There's another one in California, although they may not be reopened for the Rumble because of everything going on in LA.
They're advertising being open, but don't be surprised if there's a pivot, and that is Cosm, COSM. Do we mention we may have a boots on the ground report from there?
It's very possible. It's kind of like Sphere for a sports bar, and it's amazing. So,
have you been yet?
I've just seen pictures.
Okay. I'm still waiting for that one that justifies it, where there's tickets I want available and something I want to watch.
Yeah. And they are partnering up with WWE going forward. So they have already said they will be carrying Elimination Chamber and both nights of Mania. Which is also
at least the Chamber may have to happen.
Which is also the weekend of 420 and Easter weekend.
And I will be there.
Yep. You'll be in town.
I'll be, well, there's been some discussions. Let's leave it at that.
I'm just saying, we know you'll be in town. The known is that you will be in town.
And possibly with a shoot black eye if it goes wrong.
Let's see here. Candice LeRae, still your women's speed champion, in case you need to update the roster there. And last weekend, all 3 women's belts changed hands in less than 4 days. That was pretty awesome.
All 3 primary belts. All
women's,
3
yeah.
primary. Yeah, I just want to, for those that are going to be like, Fallon Henley's didn't change. Yeah, we know.
And there was no tag match, yes. Saturday night's main event has been announced. The next one after next Saturday in San Antonio, May 24th, which will be Memorial Day weekend. And did you see the one after that?
Yes, I did. But
July 12th.
My response was the funniest thing they could do would be try to run the American Airlines Center.
Because it's going to go head-to-head with All In.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep. Directly head-to-head, Tom.
And they're doing them once a quarter. So we still got another one to announce. If you have the Roku channel, get ready on Tuesday for a 4-episode series called What Drives You. This will combine 2 of its hosts' favorite things of cars and connecting people. The 4 episodes, respectively, will feature Logan Paul, Jelly Roll, who is touring with Post Malone on a stadium tour this summer, Travis Barker, and The Miz. And it will be hosted by John Cena! SmackDown allegedly going back to 2 hours in June.
Oh, please, thank you.
We want to say shout out to Natty, who celebrates 18 years with the company a couple of weeks ago and is very happy. Apparently, Kairi Sane is actually out with an arm injury, which is why she stayed back on Monday night.
And why they did the angle removing her from the tournament.
Sheamus has re-upped for 5 years.
Oh, really?
I believe he has a hybrid deal, though, because it's not necessarily as a purely in-ring talent. He will be doing other things because, as we know, that's H's boy.
All right, let's talk about the grand experiment that we've now had 2 episodes of because we didn't talk about it last week because we were doing best and worst stuff. Netflix is officially carrying Raw. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this down of my thoughts from the first episode and then my thoughts for the second episode. So basically what I did is what I've always done with Raw. I ended up starting a little bit later than I wanted to because I was watching something. So I ended up starting at 8:10 Central, which is an hour and 10 minutes into what we believe to be a 3-hour show. Alex.
And for the counterpoint on that, I waited until the show had passed and watched on Netflix when it was available.
Now, even starting it on delay, it did not give me the option to go live or start from the beginning. It just went straight to the beginning, which I wanted it to because I'm good with it. I said this on the show last week that Intuit Dome is amazing. Fantastic work, Steve Ballmer. Nothing but respect for that. They bleeped The Rock's F-bomb to McAfee, but not the BS at the start of the promo.
Well, as we know, the South Park rule.
Yes. Rock's first words were 14 minutes in. But I will say this, the opening was cool with the canvas. That was dope. And if that's not hanging up at headquarters, there's something wrong. I was able to fast forward commercials, put a pin in it, but I was able to fast forward commercials in week 1, and the breaks averaged about 2 minutes and 30 seconds, so it's about normal. Cena did say that his last match would be in December, so we're going to have a full year, and they had the limited edition Funko Pop for LA and all the things. Did you notice we got Across the Nation at one point?
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, they played Across the... I don't know how
Nice.
they played any of the other themes, but all of a sudden, I was just listening, and I was like, Bob in my head, I was like, wait a minute, just get it on. I was like, let's go.
Yeah, but Across the Nation, I think, was the best intro, or the best music they had.
When did they play that in that show?
It was about halfway through. They played it in the arena.
I mean, during what part of the show? What was going on?
I'd slept since then. It was about halfway through the show.
Okay.
But I do know that they did it. It would have been after the Cena promo because these are all in order.
Okay.
Taker was weird.
No problem with Taker showing up, but it felt wrong.
Like I like that mommy didn't know because she said afterwards had no idea he was even there, and they played it really well. And Alex and I both said we really thought she was going to get on the back of the motorcycle. And didn't.
Oh God, I'm so glad she didn't.
The Hogan promo was what it was. Let's keep it moving.
You mean the Boo Fest?
The drone work was
yes.
fantastic. They really, that's some of the best drone work I've seen, period.
I have a note on that one, and I don't know how risque it is, but I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if they either got former gamers for those drone shots or ex-military that are familiar with that kind of equipment.
It was absolutely fantastic work.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand what it was, but just remember you're going to need more than 4 matches going forward.
And also the Face Fest feels weird, but we know why.
Yeah. Week 2, this is where it got interesting. First of all, shout out to Lyra Valkyria, your first women's Intercontinental Champion.
Bird.
Huh?
She's the bird lady.
She's Lyra Valkyria.
But her gist is the bird character.
So I was watching hour 1, and I noticed that the only commercials I was getting were WWE promo ads.
Mm-hmm.
So my first thought was, okay, so maybe they're just doing this for hour 1, kind of hyping people up. And then I got into hour 2, and it kept going. So I got to about the 1 hour, 20-minute mark, because I would see them, like it would go black and then the coverage would come back. So I was wondering if I was getting like they do for the international feed. So instead of commercials, I was getting what was going on in the arena because I have the premium plan.
The interviews and whatnot
Right.
that we've heard about. Yeah.
Oh no, it was skipping for me.
Mm-hmm.
I pulled up my status bar as they were going to break and I watched it move 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well played, Netflix. Because they don't have to worry about that ad revenue.
No, you're already subscribing.
Yep. And as I was watching, I got to the point where I was about a half an hour behind. So my start of the third hour, I looked at my clock and it was 9:32, and I got the little banner on my screen that said, live event has ended. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And doggone if it didn't end at the 2.5 hour mark and ended like it was supposed to. It wasn't like the feed cut off. So apparently going forward, and Don, I don't know if you read this.
No, I haven't.
2.5 hours is going to be the sweet spot for Raw. Sometimes it'll go shorter. Sometimes it'll go longer. But apparently they're saying that 2.5 hours is about where they want to hang because they're doing a lot more dark matches now, especially after they go off the air.
Well, they're filming Speed and everything as well while they have the full house. But the counterpoint to waiting and seeing when it's available after the show ends is almost instantly.
Yeah.
Like it's very minimal. And if you start it after the program has ended, it already does the skipping of commercials for you as well.
Oh, there you go.
I was checking on it to look and I was like, okay, 48 minutes, 37 seconds, and 51:22. Cool. Let's go.
So if you have the premium Netflix package, you're in good shape.
Yeah, that's what we have.
Yeah. I mean, how cool is that, though, that it just skipped the commercials for us?
Yeah, I dig that a lot. I am a big proponent. I was a big fan of the Hulu 90-minute cut. I'm totally good with getting everything without having to mess around, especially when...
Now, I'm wondering what would happen if you watched it live. Would you get just promos, or would you actually get the commercials?
So you're saying starting from 7?
Uh-huh.
I will do that this week.
All right. And of course,
assuming I am home.
Yeah. And we did have the appearance of one Penta, as he is now known. I did you see the post from Chad Gable after the match?
Chad Gable just gets it.
Where he said he feels alive right now.
I've never seen somebody sell a destroyer that well.
And I feel like Chad Gable got done with that match and was like, I can't tell you the last time I had an opponent that matched up with me this well. So.
Well, and the promo, like you know me, I am one of the primary Penta fans. I have been forever. I honestly was shocked by the promo.
Yeah.
Like, I was real happy to see his family ringside and his daughter being emotionally happy. But when he cut that promo, I had to jump on social because I was like, internally, I was like, I don't know what AEW was doing, not letting this guy get on the mic. But I wanted to give hype man Alex Abrahantes his due because I'm willing to bet he helped a lot before that happened.
And that did run longer than they had anticipated.
And there was allegedly some disappointment or anger, but that has since been debunked or dismissed. I'm not sure which was the correct term.
I think.
Well, what do you think they're going to do?
Debunked with it never happened.
Do you think in the end he's just going to get buried again, like a lot of people?
I hope not. I'm just interested.
I don't think so.
With them.
Allow me to put it in this context for you, Don.
Yeah,
they have been looking for their next big Hispanic star.
Yeah, next new Rey Mysterio to take over.
I wasn't even going to go with Rey Mysterio because it was Eddie before that and Tito well before that. But what I'm saying is that Mexican draw, and they thought they had it with Santos, who's really good, but the way that building shook when Penta hit. Oh, yes, that's their guy. And especially the fact that he cut a promo in English, which, as a Penta fan for years, I didn't know he could do.
And speaking of Eddie, as of today, I have verified everything is intact for the Rumble.
Nice.
So we're good there.
We call that a tease. Don, you know what it is. You're just not realizing it.
Yeah. Think Eddie Guerrero. Think the Rumble.
Think Ric Flair.
When we do the Rumble.
Tell me off.
Oh, it'll be easy. Don't worry about it, Rob. We'll just tell him after because we're coming up.
NXT has said Vengeance Day will be February the 15th at the Entertainment and Sports Arena in Washington, D.C. We are monitoring the Corey Graves situation, so we'll just keep it moving.
I'm starting to believe that it is a shoot situation, and he's about to be their TNA guy.
Yeah. Booker said Shotzi was on Tough Enough in 2015, and I didn't remember that.
I believe it was under her real name and without the green hair, but I could be wrong.
And his default is now this isn't Level Up because he said it like 140 times on Tuesday night.
Well, he gets caught on a loop. Booker T is essentially on the mic a broken record. He'll find something, whether it's what or yeah or something, and it'll just beat it to death.
Ring of Honor Sumi Sakai has officially retired.
Well-deserved. Sumi is an absolute legend, just not so much on this side of the pond, but she should have been because she was a long-time ROH Women's Champion as well.
And first Ring of Honor Women's Champion.
Speaking of the Graves, Camilla, whatever happened to his wife, is she ever going to come back, or is she retired?
She was popping out kids.
Yeah, she's doing. She looks great. I mean, she looks like she's in shape, but I think that's a personal choice by her. The Von Erichs have signed officially with AEW.
Mm-hmm.
They have a new podcast as well, so check that out. I wanted to text you so bad today, Alex, but I didn't want. Have you watched Dynamite yet?
I caught bits and pieces. I did not watch, but you should have texted me just because I'm the Don right now when it comes to AEW. I have not watched enough.
Don, have you watched Dynamite yet?
No, I did not.
The Jericho promo. There's going to be a 12-man tag coming up.
Oh, God.
And as soon as Jericho finished naming all 12, Brian Keith goes, "That's a dozen mother..." And I lost it. I was like, oh, and the look on Jericho's face, I lost my mind.
Oh.
I was like, and that was and he said it, and he just sold the hell out of it. And Jericho just turns and looks at him, and he never breaks the look to the camera. I was like, I want to know if he went rogue.
He ad-libbed that.
That was hilarious. Because he
almost so smart, dude.
Go back and watch it because he almost has a look on his face like, "Yep, I just did that."
Like proud of himself.
Oh, they had to bleep the whole thing out then, right? Basically.
No, I think they only bleeped the last two syllables. But yeah.
That is the sweet spot for that.
I was just like, well done.
I hope there's an uncensored version on
Well
Max.
done.
I really do.
I'm telling you, if Jericho didn't know, he sold the hell out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it was just like everything just kind of stopped. It was
Like the record scratch moment.
Oh, I popped big time.
More for that or the women's
Joe!
gauntlet?
Enter Joe! Enter Joe! I'm
That
so
I didn't see.
happy. Joe's back. I'm so happy. And apparently this Megan Bain has been under contract for almost a year with AEW. That was in the Casino Gauntlet. And she was great. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with her. Anything else you always want to talk about?
At this point, when it comes to wrestling, it's just let's get to the Rumble because wrestling Christmas.
X-Golf Frisco, be there.
So here's the thing. I don't know if there's been an update because we haven't heard anything last time, but the pay-per-views for AEW, have they announced yet?
The only thing we know currently is that Grand Slam will be on Max.
Okay.
And it will air at 8 p.m. Eastern. So it's gonna be breakfast time in Australia. But it will not be an actual pay-per-view. It's a Saturday night. It's a Saturday evening show.
So it'll be Sunday morning out there.
That is correct.
Okay.
Past that, I haven't heard anything about Revolution. I know tickets are on sale, but they have not said anything about where it's going to be shown. They have,
it's kind of, yeah.
They have said
it's kind of like when Tyson had that fight in Tokyo. It was like 9 a.m. to make prime time here.
But they have also said that all in
the Buster Douglas fight.
Yeah,
I thought that was the first one he lost.
That is Buster Douglas.
I thought there was somebody else. But they have said that All In will also be on Max. Will not be a pay-per-view.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So that'll be on
a
Max.
little surprising.
Okay.
So, with Saturday night's main event, you probably don't want that to be a pay-per-view because you want to compete.
Well, I also wonder how much, we talked about it before, how much they're threading the needle on what's going to be pay-per-view and what's going to become what we know as a premium live event with the Max deal.
And we're probably about 4 weeks away from John Oliver.
From what?
From the return of John Oliver.
Oh,
make sure.
I didn't get a chance to ask you guys real quick. Did you see Edge's Cope's new shirt?
Probably.
No.
The Legend shirt.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I wanted to get your opinion on that.
I liked it. I like his new stuff.
I feel like that's really crap, honestly.
If I had the opportunity, when I would buy it. On this day. Okay.
I can see clearly.
But Don, did you see the shirt yet?
I think I did if I saw it.
So instead of it saying Legend spelled correctly, it's L Edge End.
Oh wow. Okay.
I think he filed a copyright for that.
Oh,
when he
did.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is it's one of those, it's that gray area of, we have bashed the company WWE multiple times for changing people's names that we know. And then there's that whole trademark deal. And it's like, I don't know how I feel about this.
I would venture to say he talked to H about it.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I want to believe that. All right, there's a QR code over there, over by Alex. Scan it and get to all of our social media.
Acknowledge our QR code.
That's right. We appreciate you being a part of the empire, much less with Sunset Lounge DFW. Go be part of our tiers.
Mm-hmm.
You get cool stuff. Might have more cool stuff coming. You don't know.
And I would recommend starting at Grand Moff and seeing what all that has. Because it's spelled with an E. I know, but it is the Grand Moff tier.
You can follow me on all your social medias. It's right there. Yes, that Rob Irvin. That's spelled ERVIN.
I am Vexploit on all social media. If you'd like to help out the show, please go to ProWrestlingTees.com and search for the Cheap Popcast. We got a lot of different shirt designs, a lot of different color options within those designs as well. If you happen to be an artist and you want to contribute or have any suggestions on what we want to see on the store, you can reach out to me at alex@theclubhousepodcast.com.
Those awesome sheets are awesome t-shirts. It's ProWrestlingTees.com/cheap podcast. And that Twitter, I'm at Voodoo. How'd you be near you? If you want to manage your place, it's like what's going to be happening at Top Golf. Email me, Don, at clubhousepodcast.com.
It's
X
not
Golf.
X Golf, Dom, not Top Golf.
I'm sorry.
Those are two completely different places.
My bad. All
right, we got it. We fixed it.
We don't like Top Golf.
You can email Don for information on that. And Don, stick around after we get off air because I need to talk to you boys real quick.
Okay.
You can email me questions, comments, concerns. Tell me to go pound sand. I am Rob at theclubhousepodcast.com. Charla Marshall is on Pinterest because we are morally obligated to say that. Make sure you check out all the great shows right here at Sunset Lounge DFW. There's some really cool stuff coming up very, very soon, and I can't wait to show it to you guys because it's awesome. Our normal show every Thursday night, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, is your one-stop shop for all things sports, entertainment, pop culture, pro wrestling. So until next week, for Don, for Alex, for the Empire, I'm Rob. Clubhouse is closed. And someday, the Indians, now the Guardians, will win the pennant. The Guardians win the pennant. The Guardians win the pennant.
This is a Stolen Water Media production.